Yeah, it's recording. Welcome to episode 1. Or the re-recording of episode 1. You want to talk about that?
This is welcome to our podcast. This is episode 1.
Should be the second.
Episode 1 2.0, to be honest.
Yeah, like 1.2 or something. You know what I mean? Because we recorded the first time, but we didn't have it in this, what's it called? Gimbal or cage?
Microphone holder.
There's a shock mount. Shock mount, sorry. I couldn't remember the word for shock mount.
Yeah.
We have it in a shock mount now, so when we just sit here and talk, the little movements of us moving our hands and stuff won't annoy the microphone.
Yeah. The first one sounded...
There were some good moments when we didn't move and it sounded fine, but had to re-record it.
Yeah.
So let's just say the exact same things we said before.
Okay.
And let's... This is gonna be have fun. How's the post-production going? I hope you find a good flow to this podcast because we sure don't have any at the moment.
I think it's like kind of more fun that way. I feel like.
Yeah.
You don't want it to feel too scripted.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think we want to talk, or how's like a good introduction here? We said it's the first episode of the podcast.
You say like, "Welcome to the podcast with Katherine and Ryder."
Oh yeah, we should say our names.
Yeah, I'm Katherine.
And I am Ryder.
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the audio-only radio podcast show where we talk about things that are interesting to us. What did we watch last night?
Well, we just jump in.
Oh, just jump right in it? I mean, that's kind of how I was...
I thought we were introducing ourselves.
Oh, we're just... right, I guess we have to introduce ourselves. Well, you show me how it's done. I don't know what you want me to introduce.
So, my name's Katherine.
My name is Ryder.
And we are boyfriend and girlfriend.
And we live together. In Queens, New York.
If anyone ever wants to hang out.
Well, I don't know if I actually ever want to hang out with an audience member, but I meant more just
if you're cool or not.
I was more to be like, we're cool because we live in New York.
Yeah, we're cool. We used to live in Brooklyn because that's where we went to school, where we met at film school. At an
artsy hipster film school.
Yeah, we learned all about movies
and art. I feel like I learned a lot more about what it means to be human.
Well, at the school we went to, we were required to take a lot of non-film art classes.
Yes.
To get your film degree.
Yeah.
Like art history and drawing. And
I literally minored in philosophy.
What?
Yeah, I didn't tell you this. Yeah, I fully took enough classes to have a philosophy minor, but I just didn't sign up for it. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you.
No, I philosophy minor.
So you did.
I did, but I just didn't get it written down. Because honestly, what's a philosophy minor gonna do for you?
I don't know.
It helped me come to terms with life. That's the main point of it. Is it gonna help you get a job? Not really, unless you're teaching philosophy. But even then, they prefer teaching degrees.
Mm-hmm. To get to the meat of the podcast, we are here to talk about movies.
And media.
Really, I think...
Anything that's interesting to us.
Anything that is not short form content.
That's not true, though. I like talking about TV shows.
Okay, well, no, but what I'm saying short form content is, I mean, like, TikToks, like 1 minute, like 3-minute videos. Yeah.
Can I give my quick little opinion on TikTok in case anyone wants to know my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I don't really do it. I sometimes watch YouTube shorts or like Instagram reels.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't feel good about them. I can feel it deteriorating my brain. And so it's like I get the appeal, but I do my best to not.
Yeah. You watch like the reposted TikToks.
Yeah, but even then, I try to avoid them, but I do sometimes watch them.
I use TikTok
a
lot, and it's probably not good for my brain. I think. I don't know. I feel like in the past like year or so specifically, I feel like I've been noticing that it's like not the best for my little brain to be like just bombarding it with content like that. I think, and the thing is, like, I grew up with like, I mean, you probably watched Vine too, right?
No.
See,
I got the Vine references and I saw compilation of Vines, but I always kind of thought they were lame and stupid. Like a lot of the time,
a lot of it is, but it's like funny. Like it's like not funny, but like when you're like 12 years old, something about it is like so funny.
Yeah, well, see, I realized,
and then it's just stuck in your brain forever.
I'm also maybe a psychotic, insane person because when I was like 13 or 14, I had the realization that any subject matter can be funny, and I mean that literally. Every subject matter can be in a joke. It's just about how good the joke is and how you like can phrase it. So like it just depends on perspective, really.
I'm not gonna test that theory right now, but
I know
I'm interested.
People like you can start to think of things, and that's where you like edgy humor. Yeah. But like that's what I'm saying. It's all about perspective.
I guess.
You know, if you're someone who's very like numb to death, you can joke about death and not get too bothered by it. But like if you're someone who's very sensitive to hair, you might not want to joke about hair, etc., etc. You know, so it's all perspectives.
The classic Will Smith Oscars moment.
Hair.
Yeah. Wasn't that like, didn't he do a joke about...
I was talking Larry David being a bald guy, because we've been watching a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
As a Curb Your Enthusiasm is just like on our TV right now.
One of the best shows, I think, out there, because as a New York person, I can't stand the West Coast culture. And so it's a really funny show, because it's a New Yorker who's out living in the West, and it's really fucking funny.
I think... You know, it is really good. I feel like
there's definitely some old people bits. Like some of it is a little bit like misogynistic, or one of the other things, they're always calling each other, and that's something I noticed, like generational difference.
I think, speaking of what you said before about how like you can joke about everything, I feel like there's certain jokes on the Larry David show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, that like don't land. But I've been trying to figure out if it's because they're jokes that like Larry David has written and like performed that makes it not land, or if it's like
the subject matter.
It
could be, because like there's like a lot, like Larry David fully just says the N-word
several
times,
multiple times,
and like I also do get it, like a lot of these things that we like are so like whoa it's you know, I do get having like critiques and points to make about all that stuff. But sometimes, like, you know, it can be a little bit jarring coming from a different world, like a different like background. You know, like we're younger, we're more like used to watching our toes and kind of stepping on eggshells. Like, you know, I feel like that's just how we are. We're raised in that era. Larry David is very much so from the older era that doesn't.
How old is Larry David?
How old is Larry David? No idea. He's got to be at least 50s.
The craziest thing about this
60s.
is that the show spans like 20, 30 years. Like from when it started to when it's going now. I guess like 90s, yeah. He looks exactly
20
the
years
same.
Is not 90s. 20 years is the 2000s.
So
we're 2023.
Okay.
20 years ago it was 2003.
Yeah,
I know. That's one of the things that's going to make you feel old really, really quick. It's so natural to think 30 years ago would be like, oh, yeah, that would be the 80s. No, it's the 90s.
Yeah.
That's how I just remember, I just keep myself grounded by remembering we're in the future, if that makes any sense. If you feel like it's the year like 2015, I just remember we're in like the sci-fi future from 2015.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, like from Back to the Future when they go to 2015. Yeah.
No, I wasn't doing a clever reference.
That was a really good... I was like, wow, that's a good reference.
That's the other thing. I'm very lucky. I can just say stupid shit, and usually sometimes it sounds smart.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
We should backtrack a little bit.
Oh, you think we should gone off on a tangent or a ramble?
I feel like we should introduce ourselves a little bit more.
I feel like I introduced myself just fine.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to introduce myself a little bit.
Yeah, I've been wondering when I was going to do that.
I was letting the conversation flow naturally. But to backtrack a little bit, my name's Katherine. I am 22 years old, correct? Yes.
Not keeping track.
And I'm a Leo, and I went to film school because I always really loved movies and TV. Watching it specifically, I feel like is what made me really go to film school. And then once I got there, I was like, yeah, it is really cool. Like the behind the scenes of it. very interesting. I think I really like the like pre and post production of it all, the writing and the planning, and then like the editing afterwards.
Hate production though.
Yeah, going to film school truly did really like make me realize maybe I'm not meant to be on the set of something, but I think if it was the right set, I would enjoy myself.
See, here's the thing. I love running a set. I hate like following orders on a set though. It's I get it. It's kind of fun to like think about, but then when you're like have to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to like get shouted out for like 12, 13 hours straight.
Yeah. I didn't like, I always felt really nervous. Like I would rather be on someone else's set and just like do what they tell me to do, but like making,
well, because you don't need the creative
being
brain.
my own director was like, it took a toll on me.
Yeah, I like that toll. I like that feeling.
Having to like, then, because then you're the person, all the people are there, and you have to tell them what to do.
My problem is I like the process. I like the pre and post. Once it gets to the marketing and like development, like I have so much unreleased shit, and it's like, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to promote myself because by the time I get there, I'm so sick of seeing it that I'm just like, I feel like I just need a manager.
Ooh, yeah.
To do that, all that.
But yeah, you can, oh, sorry, I hit the microphone with my phone. I'm pulling up my Letterboxd right now.
Okay. Well, I, while you do that, I'll give a little background of why I went to film school. Because you said you like movies.
Yeah.
I actually don't. I don't like movies. I'm just
laughing at how lame my answer was.
No, I thought yours was a good,
okay.
Good intro.
Don't like movies?
I do. I like some movies, but it depends on what mood I'm in to what movies I like. As a whole, a lot of the times I get bored by like most movies. Like majority of the movies in the world are very like average, and that's worse than being bad. You know, I'm one of those people. And so I like actually video games a lot. I think a lot of video games are seriously underrated art pieces. And so like I went to film school because like I had some experience with videos, you know, I made YouTube stuff for a while. And so it just sort of
shout out Ryder Cycle Gaming on YouTube.
I'm sure I'll plug this, and that's where like a lot of the followers will probably come from. So or people that know us in real life.
Yeah.
But
hi Rose.
hi Ma. And so I sort of went to film school because I was like, it was my answer to an existential question of what happens when I'm dead. Oh. And so I wanted to like leave behind traces of myself through any sort of media. And video is just the form that I can do the best in, or the one that I'm most comfortable with. Although it would be, I always wanted to be a cartoonist. I love animation. I just fucking hate doing it.
Like drawing the little...
like frame by frame. It's just so harsh. Like I could storyboard just well enough, and I could like 3D animate ish. Not the 2D animation is what I love and I have such respect for. Not something I want to do. Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. But that's why anyways. Yeah.
So that's why we went to film school.
And that's where we met.
And
if you're wondering,
we became movie snobs, if you will.
Yeah. And I was going to say, if you're wondering if either of us are doing films now, like, yes, no, like...
I think also that was another reason that I wanted to make this podcast, was because I feel like I lost touch with that. Like...
that side?
We used to go to class every day and, like, talk about, you know what I mean? Like, discuss movies. Yeah. In general. And we don't... I mean, we watch movies like every day, but like...
oh yeah, we watch a lot of movies.
We watch a lot of movies every day, but I don't know, something about
talking about movies in a setting where it's like you're giving them focus and a shelf.
Yeah.
To like, but also at the same time, I want to say like the active creation, and I think is a big thing I want to promote too, because like consumption is great, but also like, well, at least the only time I'd ever listen to podcasts was while I was doing something else. Like while I'm driving maybe, but more likely like drawing or like editing, you know, doing something. And I just wanted some background noise. Shout out to everyone
that's washing their dishes right now. That's why I was...
oh yeah, that's a classic too. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that, you know, shout outs to everyone doing stuff, because if you can think of a way to do something, I think that's always something to work towards. You know?
Yeah.
I have a bunch of ideas in my head, no logical idea of how I'm going to do them, but I'm an idea guy. You know,
Yeah.
I have big dreams, and sometimes I go the whole distance. I'm still practicing on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't need to.
Being an idea guy is always a good thing to be, I feel like.
It's not bad, but it's also like it sucks because you get this feeling of you can't finish anything, and you get this imposter syndrome. But it's the industry. It's how it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, did you have more to say?
Not really.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I was gonna plug my Letterboxd really quick.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason that I wanted to plug it is because I wanted to do say my top movies.
Oh yeah. Let me pull.
And top so you guys know what kind of movies
should we even talk about in case they don't know what the app is?
Yeah, Letterboxd. If you don't have Letterboxd, you're lame.
Download it. It's a fun way of keeping track of what movies you watch.
You basically just log every movie that you watch. You can rate it. You can write a little review. You can make lists. Do all sorts of fun stuff on this. This is just I've been using the app I think since COVID, so I just have a list of every movie I've watched in the past couple of years, and it's really cool to look back on.
It's helpful for me because a lot of the times I'll see a movie and then not be 100% sure when if all the details. So it's you can just write a little bit about a movie when you finish it, or even remind yourself if you liked it or not.
Yeah.
Restart.
My Letterboxd is gonna be linked somewhere down below, so you guys can check it out. And Ryder's will be there too. You guys can check it out, see what we're watching. We do watch a lot of movies together, so.
Well, let's just say our favorites.
Yeah. Okay, but my favorites, my top 4 on Letterboxd, which I think I might even change soon, but for now, Perks of Being a Wallflower, Rocket Man, The Florida Project, and Mamma Mia. Those would be my top 4 favorites. A car is driving by. I think
this road that we live next to gets busy.
I have a solid top 7 movies that includes Lady Bird, and I feel Pitch Perfect would be in there, but maybe not all the way up in 7. But so it's kind of a rotating top 4 favorite movies, but as you can tell, I love a coming of age movie, slice of life kind of, and something with a little bit of music, something with a little bit of fun. I don't know if I can really call myself a theater kid, but I do unfortunately have a lot of theater kid energy in me. I think it's residual from when I was in theater in middle school and early high school.
And hey, that stuff affects your psyche.
So I do love a good musical. Always loved a good musical. Would you like to say your top 4 favorites?
Yeah. I am a little bit different. I'm more of an edgy stoner, deep thinker, hipster scumbag. So my lists are my favorites, in no particular order, because again, it really depends on the mood I'm in of what type of film I want to watch. Mandy from 2018. Can't pronounce the director's last name. It's starring Nick Cage. Bit of a slower movie. It's probably my most film school pick of a movie, because it's a very you got to be aware of what you're watching, and it's nuanced, and there's beautiful lighting and slow synth score. But I also can enjoy a bad, silly, goofy movie too, Gremlins 2: The New Batch. Honestly, one of my favorite films. It's knowing it's a critique about sequel culture at the time adds so much to the film that was missed when I first viewed it, and it's just a weird nostalgia pick from my childhood that, it's a fun movie. It's not necessarily good, but it's one of my favorites.
Do movies need to be good?
No. I also really love My Dinner with Andre. This is a 1981 film. It's a super, super deep movie about 2 people in a restaurant just talking. And if you get in the mood to want to listen to 2 people talking that you're doing right now.
I'll be honest, this movie kind of inspired this podcast in a way as well.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slow, but honestly, eat an edible and just think about things.
Chill out.
And then opposite of that, last favorite movie is Whiplash.
When's the last time you saw Whiplash?
Probably
I haven't
like
seen that movie in a minute. We should rewatch
2019.
it.
I watched it with Slade because I have a brother named Slade. I watched it with my brother because he had never seen it, and he's a big music guy, and so I thought he'd appreciate it. And he did. He liked it.
It's a good movie.
But it's really good. You know, people. What hasn't what hasn't been said about this?
Yeah. Really, honestly,
it's a really good score. The plot keeps like a nice sharp. You get like you're never gonna know what's happening. You know, it keeps you on your toes. Yeah, and of course I like other movies. Before I went to film school, I used to say my favorite movie was American Psycho. And over the course of film school, I did write several papers about this movie. Little bit overrated.
Then you met some women.
Well, the problem I have with it is that it was written by a gay man and directed by a woman.
The book was written by a gay man.
Yeah, the book was written by a gay man, but the fact that it was directed by a woman really turns me off from it. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I don't know. It's
Men
just
when they find out that movie is directed by a woman.
Yeah, the problem I actually have with it is an actual problem I have with a lot of other media. Not so much certain things anymore, but the problem of I don't like the audience, and therefore I don't like.
I feel the same way about the Joker movie.
Really? You actually like the Joker movie?
The Joker movie.
Yeah, I was like, I actually didn't like that, and I hated the crowd for it too. But and so there's like this problem I have with a lot of other media where it's like I don't like it because of the audience that follows it. Like the Marvel movies, like I really like the comics, but I kind of hate a lot of the comic fans, like the ultra fans that have all the figurines and don't shower for months, and like the. You know, I don't hate people for having passion. I just more hate the stereotypes that get lumped in by saying you're a fan of certain things.
I feel that way about Harry Potter, mostly because of the creator of it and the people that defend her, and like like people that are fans of Harry Potter that don't acknowledge that the person who created it is not a good person.
Yeah. How do we get to this point?
You were going to talk about Rick and Morty.
No, before that. Way before that.
Movies?
Oh, movies.
American
Psycho. So the reason I bring all this up is because like American Psycho has that effect where it's a lot of the people that like it sort of misinterpret the movie. Same with things like Fight Club. And so while they are good movies, it's kind of like you give an impression when you say it's your favorite because people will just lump you in with that crowd without even...
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction's another one that has that, or Citizen Kane, you know, like I guess Citizen Kane's a little bit more like you don't even know movies, you just say
nobody
favorite
says
movies.
Citizen Kane, like nobody,
which is a shame because it's actually a good movie.
Yeah, but like if you showed up to film school on your first day of film school and you said your favorite movie is Citizen Kane, nobody would believe you. Like everyone would just think that you like Googled movies before you walked in.
Movies.
Do you remember the first day that we went to film school and we all had to stand up and say our favorite movie?
Yeah, I hate when people.
Say?
I really hate. I probably said American Psycho.
I think that was like the beginning of if you tell anybody that you go to film school, or at least like the first like couple of weeks too of like orientation, every teacher and like every other person would always be like,
God,
what's your favorite movie?
One of the earliest memories I have of like talking about favorite movies and stuff was two people before they transitioned yelling at me about not knowing who Paul Thomas Anderson is. Because I'm not a movie person.
You don't know who PTA is?
As a freshman, I just like go to film school and like a bunch of people start like harassing me because I don't know PTA. It is a very exclusive.
I remember showing
like.
up to film school and a lot of people talking about
very judgy
Quentin Tarantino and like all of the directors I would say that are in like that realm, like Paul Thomas Anderson. Like I'm just talking about like older male directors who
Edgar
have
Wright.
like Edgar
He did
Edgar Wright,
movies.
yeah.
You know, people would say that.
Yeah.
And it's like it's cool seeing everyone's opinions and
Francis
stuff, but
Ford Coppola.
I have a problem with this question. What's your favorite movie? I really fucking hate it because one, going to film school, you get like that's like the sorting hat. You know, your answer there determines what options you have as for friends for the rest of your time.
No, yeah.
And so like it's a little bit fucked in that sense because like I kind of just like anything that's well made.
I felt very overwhelmed when I started at film school because the movies that I watched, I realized very quickly were not film school movies. And you're laughing.
I'm laughing because I'm the same way.
I felt like a lot of the movies that I like watched growing up were like heavily influenced. Like I grew up like, first of all, I grew up on like Disney Channel movies.
Well,
and I feel like I kind of grew into like this, like, I love rom-coms, I love like early 2000s, like stuff like that. And like you cannot show up to film school and like say that your favorite movie is like 13 going on 30. Like they will literally boo you out of the class.
Which I will say, going to a Brooklyn art school like this, it was a bit of an ironic moment because like I know it was a great school. We had a lot of great friends, had a great experience. I'm not trying to diss on the school as much as it might sound like we are.
Yeah, little disclaimer here. Everybody that we went to Pratt with,
I love them.
Yeah.
Great people. Yeah. Great professors, great people. Might have been a little pricey for what it was, but I think like the limitation that everyone kind of looked through, because like there's like pre-established notions of what a film is. Like I remember early into the film thing, they were like talking about genre films, and it sort of felt like we never really left that subject matter. Like everything has to be a genre film. Meanwhile, my first exposure to film was like radio, you know, so like I'm kind of looking at it more as like the medium, and like that's why I got into installation stuff. But even then, it's hard to be like, how am I gonna make a career with
I will say,
this?
I feel like Pratt, like compared to like other film schools in the New York area, does a good job of like teaching you how to like really be like an indie filmmaker.
Yes.
And like work within the limitations of like not really having a budget.
Yeah, but it also still like teaching you and prepping you for like working within this unionized industry. Yeah. Which is cool, but we're in the age of the internet.
Sorry.
Which is cool, but we're in the age of the internet, and so like you can't really expect things just to function like that.
Shout out Pratt. What was your favorite class that you took at Pratt?
Fucking, I don't know.
Okay. Well,
experimental, maybe. I had actually, because it was like when COVID first hit, actually.
Were we in the same class?
Yeah. Jim Finn. Professor Jim Finn.
I'm going to bleep that out.
You're going to bleep out his name? So you say the college we go to. We've been doing really good at not saying this whole time. Shout out.
No, I'm kidding.
So I actually really like that, experimental, because it kind of taught me to think about the medium of video in a little bit more of a nuanced light. Because I've always wanted to consider myself more as like an artist, like an Andy Warhol, Michael Jackson type persona. I know you're giving me a weird look, and I don't mean it like I'm gonna be like a rock star and a famous painter. I mean the sense that I'd have a persona more associated with the name more than the like actual me.
No, I get it.
So do you?
Kind of. Like they're so
Why'd
famous.
You say you get what I say then?
Because I get like they're so famous. You think about them as like a concept, like including like their art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson, like when I think of Michael Jackson, like I can like see the outfits that he's wearing. I can like see him.
Yes. Yeah. And so like, that's sort of always how I viewed art, is like a means of self-expression in that sense. A lot of these people are like see film as the end all be all, and it's like I kind of get that, but it's also like film is more just a tool to express these ideas. Is how I come at it, and so. When people are like, it has to be a short film narrative. Yeah. I think there's just more ways to use video than that. I grew up on video essays and Let's Plays and podcasts. Yeah, I seriously sunk so many hours into that. Probably just as much as I spent into TV. And you spend a lot of hours binging TV shows, trust me.
Speaking of TV.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite TV show? Because we just talked all about favorite movies. I was wondering if you had a favorite TV show.
It depends on my mood.
That's a good answer.
What's your favorite movie, TV show?
What's my favorite movie, TV show? I think Stranger Things would have to be up there in my favorite TV show of all time. So a fun little story about Stranger Things, which is my favorite TV show. I watched it like a lot in high school because I was like obsessed with it. And then I showed up to college and I met Ryder, and we were like friends at first, and nothing was happening between us. And and then we were having this conversation about Stranger Things because I had said it's my favorite TV show. And I said, have you ever seen Stranger Things? And he said...
Oh, you want me to just butt in there? Yeah. See, I wasn't sure if you were trying to get me.
Have you ever seen Stranger Things? And he said...
You think I'm not going to butcher that setup? I'm going to butcher it every time you try and redo it. Go with the first one even. No, I should do it again.
Okay. And he said...
Hi, my name's Jeff.
Wow. So funny.
Yeah, see, I was gonna naturally enter butt with my own addition, so just
okay. So I said, have you ever seen? I said.
So she loves Stranger Things, and she asked me if I've ever watched them, and I just wanted to like have a talking point. So I said I saw the first season, and I knew there was at least 2 seasons out. So I said I saw the first season, but I haven't seen the second one yet, as sort of like a way to like, you know. But I didn't watch the first season at all. I knew nothing about the show. So the night before we were gonna...
So I said to him, you've seen the first season, you've never seen the second season. We're watching the second season. Like, basically, I was like, come over, we're gonna watch the entire second season.
Which is all according to plan.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, fuck, wait, actually I don't know anything about the show. So I studied and like watched video essays about season 1 just so I had a basic understanding to like not give myself away. And then we watched the entirety of Stranger Things season 2,
which is like what, like 8-9 hours, maybe even more.
I refuse to believe it's actually that long because like
maybe like 8 hours, which is still...
It was a day off. We didn't have class, and you invited me over to your dorm, and we just like sat there and watched it the whole time.
You probably came over like
2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, like it was.
And then I left about 10.
Yeah. Okay. No, it was like later than that though, because what had happened was you came over to watch Stranger Things. My roommate, hi Rose, like went out like for the night, like I don't know what she was doing. Like she went out, she partied a little bit, came back, and we were still in the exact same position watching Stranger Things still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But it was really fun, and I really enjoyed our time doing that together.
Yeah.
It was like kind of cute. So yeah, then we started dating, and like a year later, I found out that he had never watched the first season of Stranger Things.
Yeah. So then we watched it.
So then we went back and watched it. I wasn't even that mad though, because I was like, that's like mad respect, you know?
Yeah, I lie through my teeth.
Yeah. I think my favorite part about this, I was like talking about this like recently. I was like, you said you didn't watch the second season because you didn't have Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't question how you watched the first season.
No, you might have.
And you fully might have. Like, what did you say?
My instinct gut would have been to say like I watched it at a friend's house.
Oh, I mean, okay, probably.
That's almost, I guarantee you how that conversation went down. That's probably like, yeah, I didn't see the first one. You're like, oh, well, how did you watch the first? Well, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, you know.
Then you know.
The rest is history.
For sure.
But I would definitely say the Stranger Things is one of my favorite TV shows, and not just because of that, just like in general. It's great television. I also, unfortunately, as I said before, I'm a theater kid, so I do love Glee. Gonna gloss right over that one. I've been watching recently, I've been watching Gilmore Girls, and I'm very much in love with that show. I'm only on season 5 though, so I think when I finish watching it, we'll do a whole recap, but I don't have much to say about it for now.
We've been watching a lot of Curb.
And we've been watching a ton of Curb Your Enthusiasm. I am a fan of like the workplace comedies. You know, you've got like your Parks and Rec, The Office.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a brief period of time, but now it feels like a little bit taboo to say that. You know, with
I don't really like cop
cops and
shows.
yeah. Oh, and I
like
also
cops.
used to love Criminal
Fucking hate
Minds, and I
cops.
feel the same way about that. But that seems to me a little bit less like.
It's almost worse.
Cop.
FBI is like more of an extension of like
But like,
the
it's
imperialism
so
of
like
America.
that show is so unserious to like
That's true.
how actual the FBI actually works that like. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any information on the FBI, but
I used to have friends who wanted to become an FBI agent.
that'd be probably like a pretty cool thing to do. I think for a minute when I was watching Criminal Minds, when I was like really into it, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like solve crimes. But then I was like, this isn't actually how they solve crimes. Like, it doesn't actually work like that.
Yeah.
The show made it seem a little bit more fun and a little bit more maybe dangerous than it is in real life. I don't know.
What movies, TV shows do I like?
Yeah.
I really liked Barry.
Oh, we just watched Barry.
Barry was really, really
We
good.
watched that in like what, 3 days?
Yeah,
4
we
days?
binged that shit.
It's really easy to binge watch because the episodes are very short and there's not that many of them.
And if you don't know what it's about an ex-hitman who wants to be an actor.
Which is a great concept for a show.
Great concept for a show.
And it's
So
Bill
good.
Hader, which we love.
Yeah. I also really like Succession.
Ooh, another good one.
That's one our friends hooked us onto, and oh my god, just such a great show.
I think my favorite part of Succession too is how there's like a subculture of people on Twitter that are like teenage girls obsessed with the
fans of
characters.
Succession are
This
crazy.
I feel like is an example of like the fans of of something like enhancing it.
Like Germa.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Germa's fans are the same exact way. Yes,
Yeah.
I fully get what you're saying, and I agree.
Thank you.
What's another show that I would consider my like?
You love
I like a lot of like shows that are more like feel good, easy watching, like Futurama, Seinfeld. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Things that are just like fun and not necessarily like they can get a little dark, but not necessarily like
something you can throw an episode on before bed of. You know?
Yeah, but I also can appreciate more like serious shows sometimes. I don't know. I feel like
Gotta be in the mood.
you do have to be in the mood a lot. Like I used to be a big fan of BoJack Horseman way back in the day, but
Never got into it.
yeah, it's
I had a friend once who told me you would love BoJack Horseman. It makes
probably
me
would,
feel
actually.
like shit every time I watch it. That's a direct quote from my friend. And I said, you're recommending me a show and then you just said it makes you feel like shit when you watch it.
Yeah.
That to me does not sound like something I want to
and see
subject myself to. No offense. I know it's good. And I do love, you know who I love?
Tina Fey.
The voice of BoJack Horseman. What's his name?
Will Palmer.
Will Palm. That's not his name, is it? Will something.
No.
Huh? Oh, well.
Will Arnett?
Will Arnett. Yeah, I love Arrested Development. that was the jump I was trying to make.
Uh-huh.
I love Arrested Development. And I'm also, like, side note, to go back to me, but I also do like reality television. I grew up, my dad is a huge Survivor fan, so I grew up watching Survivor, Amazing Race, Big Brother, all of it. And I think one show that's still stuck with me is Dance Moms. Thank you.
I can tolerate like Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, yeah.
That's like the one reality show I'll watch. Maybe RuPaul.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
We watched
But even then, they feel really long and drawn out for episodes. Like I feel like they could do that whole season in like 2
That's
to
a
3
classic
episodes.
RuPaul, though. RuPaul is so much filler. It has so much filler.
And that's my problem. Again, we're talking about consumption and making, and hopefully by now you're almost done with the project you've been working on this whole time. And it's sometimes just to consume for the sake of consumption, I think is a dangerous slope because it's very like addictive and it's hard to like really pull yourself out.
I feel that way about like there's certain reality shows.
And that's also the thing. You have to pull yourself out too. Like you can't be forced out of it.
Like I don't have anything. I mean, there's certain things I guess I do have against the Kardashians. But the reason the reason I've never watched like Keeping Up with the Kardashians is because like I know personally I would just like get sucked into like watching them have like the most random fights with each other, and like I would need to watch every single episode because I don't know, I would need to see what's going on, and I can't consume that much content about like the Kardashians just like living their lives. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like reality TV, a lot of it's just
Real
filler.
Housewives too.
It's just to sell ad time, which I have a whole thing about ads because I really don't like advertisements. I don't think they work too good, especially if you have like some symbol of sentience.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the whole thing. What was the point?
TV shows is art. Reality TV.
I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
We talked ourselves into a wall.
Yeah.
So the movies we watched this week, we watched Shrek Forever After, Shrek the Third, Mermaids, and a Goofy movie. Is that good?
That sounded
okay.
good.
Okay.
You'd have to ask.
Okay. And I think the movies that I want to talk about are Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After.
Well, that sucks because I want to talk about mermaids in a Goofy movie.
No
so
way.
Looks like we're getting into a fight
I'll pass
here.
the mic. I'll pass it to you.
Okay.
I'm done. Okay. Okay. Starting off, I've never seen Shrek Forever After, but I have seen Shrek the Third, so I knew what I was getting into, like, with that one when I watched it. I had seen it, not recently, but I had definitely seen it a couple times in my childhood, and there was some parts that I, like, remembered. The movie itself, Shrek the Third, is, like, I mean, anything that's coming after, first of all, Shrek 2, is just, like, why even bother?
Good luck following Shrek.
Yeah, like, it's not even a competition, obviously, which Shrek movie is the best one, and like to be right after that.
How come Michael?
You've got big shoes to fill, and did they fill them? Not really. However, I think I'm one of the only people in the world that's actually a fan of the Shrek babies.
Yeah, those are. I'm so glad there's not as much of them as I thought there was.
There's like barely any Shrek baby content in the third or fourth movie.
They're barely in either of them. Like they are in them, but not that much.
I truly and honestly think Shrek Forever After is maybe the worst. It's obvious. Well, very obviously, it's the worst Shrek movie ever made.
Yeah, at least so far.
So far, I cannot believe that this movie is what it is. The concept of it literally being like, it's all a dream, but like essentially it is all a dream.
It does a classic for all you Marvel nerds out there. It does a what if.
It's a what if movie, and I really can't stand that because
I hate them.
What if
Shrek didn't free Fiona?
Yeah, what? Like nobody cares.
It's like, okay, cool. Can we go back to Shrek now?
I want to see his babies.
Yeah, like him as a dad, like
do the roar.
Sorry. God.
I love that part. That's like the only redeeming.
You
that's
kept
like
saying it so many times.
The only reason I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd is because the kid that's like, do the roar. I love you, Daddy.
I think I gave that like 1.5 maybe.
If I could give it 0 stars, I probably would. But
no, you wouldn't. You gave it 2 because
of the do the roar kid.
And that's why you said 2. But if you could, no, you could. You gave it
2. It didn't really hit me like, and I think like they really wanted to do this thing of like Shrek literally says out loud like word for word, or maybe not, but like he says like, I didn't realize what I had until it was like all gone. And it's
they say that a lot.
You're supposed to like be like, wow, like Shrek, like I don't even know, like I'm assuming like you're supposed to watch this when you're a kid and you're just supposed to be like, wow, Shrek, like he really like he didn't appreciate his wife and his kids.
It was definitely the most
child-friendly
Shrek movie.
I didn't really agree. I think if I watched this, I think the reason I didn't watch this as a kid is because Rumpelstiltskin, like,
he looked terrifying.
From the cover, scared the fuck out of me.
There was no real adult jokes in it for, like, the parents.
There really wasn't a lot of adult jokes. There was a couple, like, references, but like that's a Shrek film for you. There's always references.
Shrek films always like usually really good for that. Like Shrek 2 has them like her like whipping Ariel into the ocean. Like,
yeah, Shrek 4 has
Shrek 4 is kind of lame.
The ugliest characters.
Yes, because they did the HD textures.
Since when does Shrek even look like that? Like
Shrek has too much like pores on his skin. It's gross.
And all of the other ogres are so ugly. And I honestly don't even like. I'm not even really a big fan of Fiona's girl boss look.
What do you mean? You don't like it when there's women in films that don't have any problems?
But she still has problems. What?
No, but I was. Like,
I just don't like.
You don't like seeing strong women in cinema?
No, I actually like really hate it when women are strong in cinema. But like
that's
Fiona's
what the white men think you
Fiona's
meant by saying you want to see women in
it's not
movies.
like Fiona, like she's still a badass in the first like 3 movies. If we like remember anything from the first movie, like Shrek is like saving her and she's like, I can save myself, like literally fuck off, Shrek. Like I don't understand why they like needed to like go back and like girl bossify her when she's like already a girl boss.
It was just the era it came out in. It came out 2007. You got to remember, people always be making points like girl boss is such a new thing, but no, it's been happening since 1991.
The term girl boss was invented.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really didn't like the 4th Shrek movie. I felt like they were given, like, if you're given the opportunity to make another Shrek movie, you don't make it a what if movie.
Yeah, because then it just goes back to the start of the film at the end of it.
And that's so, like, the plot...
The most dissatisfying
the way that the
shit.
plot moves
would be
forward.
fun to play on that. No, it was all good. I didn't mean to talk over you.
I'm just saying, like, because the whole movie is something that didn't technically occur because it goes back to the beginning, the plot, like, moving forward, it's, like, one day.
Yeah. It's a very, like, annoying feeling. It's a dissatisfying technique.
Yeah, I really didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Shrek the Third kind
of... Shrek the Third got a lot of hate for how
Shrek
mediocre it was.
It got a lot of hate, but because I feel like it's because it followed up Shrek 2 and it really didn't do the damn thing. Like,
well, the whole thing was there's like they try to add like King Arthur.
Yeah, and nobody cares.
That whole shit just fell on its face.
I felt like Shrek 3 tried to do so much, and yet not a lot of it stuck. You've got Shrek over there with King Arthur. You've got like Fiona with her like princesses.
Yeah, and then there's also the bad guys.
And then you've got Prince Charming doing his thing.
Yeah, and it's just like
and
that's a lot for a Shrek movie because like when Shrek's over there doing his thing, it's like literally a whole other continent.
Yeah,
and it's like why does they give a fuck about any of this?
I came back into consciousness because I'll be honest.
Yeah, it was pretty late when we watched.
It was pretty
Shrek
late.
4.
I came back into consciousness. No, this was during Shrek 3. But,
right, same thing.
Literally,
we watched it the same night.
Yeah, it was the same
night. So for me, they're both the same movie. Like, if anything, now they're more blurred because of this experience.
No, to me, I can differentiate it only because I saw the third. Like, I know the plot of the third one.
I've seen them both before this.
I came back into consciousness during the Shrek 3 movie, and like Shrek, King Arthur, and like this weird old wizard dude were like having a whole conversation, and I was like, what is happening? Like, who are you? Like, who? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's what happens when you fall asleep.
I didn't fall asleep, but I definitely zoned out.
Yeah, well, it's neither of them are good movies. They're fun-ish. Yeah. Now, what I want to talk about is Mermaids and the Goofy movie.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Goofy movie.
Okay.
Because everyone's always...
Was it as goofy as you had hoped?
I've heard so many things from the internet about the Goofy movie. Mm-hmm. Because people always talk about the nostalgia of it, in perfect 90s film. And I never watched it as a kid, you know? So it was weird seeing it with literally no nostalgia attachment to it. Because I just never saw it.
Okay.
I just never saw it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it was a musical. Or had musical numbers. I didn't know there was
really it's the capitalizing off of the Disney Renaissance.
It was a kind of a crazy movie, but was it as good as all the hype? Honestly, nah. I think the background characters were probably the most fun the film had.
I think the film it does have a lot of fun with its animation.
Yeah, the animation is definitely has a lot of fun. They put some really personality driven cartoon characters in the background, which I loved. But then I don't know. The plot is just kind of them
going on a road trip. It's a father-son road trip.
Yeah, but I just don't care about Goofy. I
think
the
does
his son ever come back in other Disney
Goof
media?
Is in a couple other things, yeah. But most of it, I think this and an extremely Goofy movie, the sequel.
I just see it as a failed.
Would you like this
character.
better?
I see it. Oh God, that looks so much worse.
I'm adding it to
I just see it as a failed Scrappy-Doo concept. You know, like they wanted Max Goof to be the next Pikachu.
But yeah, I think a Goofy movie is definitely, it's a goofy
It
movie.
felt very 90s, you know, not growing up in the 90s. It wasn't too like, it was just kind of like, oh, this is how culture was. Like, that's cool. Why don't they just like use cell phones to
They did a good
keep in
job
touch?
of keeping it very much in its time period.
Yeah, it's cool seeing a modern sort of take on that.
Yeah.
I wish they did that more.
Yeah.
I always like seeing that. Anyway, the other movie, Mermaids, starring Cher and Winona Ryder.
Christina Ricci.
Yeah, it was alright. I don't know. I like that it had what's this dude's name? Bob Hoskins. Because I love Bob Hoskins. He's Mario from the Mario Brothers movie.
Right.
And also a bunch of other stuff. But for me, he's Mario from the Mario Brothers movie, the original one. And I loved seeing him in it. I thought his inclusion as a character really sort of rounded off the whole appeal. My problem with Mermaids,
it's religious propaganda.
It's such religious propaganda bullshit.
It's really strange because going into the film, I didn't know much about it besides that it was a movie with Cher and Winona Ryder, and it looked like a fun family film, which it is, but there is way too much religion going on.
Way too much.
And at first it's like, oh, it's like, I feel like you're meant to believe it's like a little joke, because in the beginning she's like praying, and then like Cher's like, we're Jewish, and it's like, oh, haha, like she, like, I don't know, like she's like
it's like she's the black
Catholic
sheep
as,
because
like, a
she's like
joke.
too like
But
pearl
then
clutcher.
she won't shut up, and like every time
her
anything happens in
character.
the film, she has her little voiceover moment, and I'm like, if you,
She's always like, I'm praying
like,
for God to
God,
give me
dear
strength.
God, dear
And it's
God.
like her character's supposed to be the annoying Christian, and her mom's like the party animal.
Yeah.
And it makes a really interesting dynamic, but it's still a fucking.
Why do you think it's called
annoying.
Mermaids?
Why do you think it's called Mermaids? I'll tell you why. Spoiler if you don't want that little mystery spoiled. It's because Cher wears a mermaid costume at the end. I never looked at the poster. I just saw the clip on Twitter of them yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And so she wears a mermaid costume.
Yeah, but why would it be called Mermaids? There's only one mermaid in the whole film.
Well, her daughter
And like the
wants to
daughter
swim.
likes to swim.
It opens with swimming, so
Okay.
maybe
Like,
they're both mermaids in that sense.
okay.
Maybe it's showing off that she's more of a black sheep, you know,
Maybe.
because she doesn't swim. Like,
I don't know.
it's
I
one of
like
those films. I like the dynamic, but it's
this was made in
really
1990.
gets in your face. And then how did it even end? Is one of those things.
What?
Like, how did that film really? They just sort of like, it's a happy ending.
It sort of ends because
They're all good.
the
They
sister
figure out
is
the
like
problem.
fine. She doesn't die. And then,
Yeah, like-
spoiler, nobody dies. And then they're like, okay.
Yeah.
I like
Like her
would say-
sister almost dies, and they
Yeah.
just kind of like go like, all right, well now I'll be a good daughter and be
Yeah.
not such a. I don't even.
Also, I think we really need to talk about the
Although
fact
I
that
do
like
really like Winona Ryder's
there's a
performance, and I
little-
like the line. I just want to say it. I love the line when Cher says, "What are you gonna do? Be the village whore?" And she goes, "I can't, Mom. We already have one."
that one was funny.
And then she just slaps Winona Ryder across the face. Fantastic performance.
I think another thing about this film that bothered me is
It is
there's
a
some
popcorn
kind of
classic, though.
pedophilia going on
What?
with the boyfriend.
Oh.
He's like, they like really make a point to say, like, not to spoil anything, but like, there's a girl in the film, and they make a point to be like, you're 15, and then there's a man in the film, and they make a point to be like, he's 27. Didn't need to see them getting together.
Yeah, because they fully like
Felt a little
do
bit
it.
uncomfortable about the morals behind that.
Came out in the 90s though, so it was a little bit different of a time, but
And
it's
I
still not
understand
that
there's like a
far
lot
ago.
of like there it goes like
Like,
I don't want to be the
15
kind
is
of
very
person
much
to be like
say 17, please. If you're trying to do that sort of feeling, it just makes us more comfortable.
it made me a little bit uncomfy, and I hate to
15's
be
really young, and I get it. Like 15, you are confused about those things.
Yeah.
and having those thoughts, I get it. But like,
Why did he have to be 27?
just say 17. Yeah, like make him like 20, 19.
Because like then
You
they
know,
like
make it a
they
little
really
bit-
try to like keep his character as like this like good guy, and I'm
And like a
he's
young
just
seeming
not.
guy.
He's
but
just not a good guy. It's kind of a weird thing for a guy to do. A grown man. I don't
grown
know.
man shouldn't take a 15-year-old girl fishing and then.
Yeah, and I really hate to be like the person that's like, this movie has like a bad like thing in it, so like, how do I explain this? Like, like critiquing media, like by saying like the people in the film are doing something that's like bad, so like the movie's bad. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, by being offended.
Yeah, but I just thought it was like a little bit of a weird vibe. That's what I'm saying.
I kind of agree with that. I thought it was a little bit weird for what it was.
Yeah,
and
it just didn't, and it didn't drive like their insane 12-year age difference did not drive the plot further than like if he had just been like literally 18.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but those were the movies we've seen.
Those were the 4 movies we've seen this week.
Yeah.
But tune in next week to see what else we watch.
Yeah, we have a lot more on our lists. And actually, do you know if our lists for each other are publicly accessible?
Oh, yeah. We should talk about that.
Yeah, before we go, we'll give you a quick little description of how we watch movies.
How do we watch movies?
Well, obviously we pirate them.
Well, obviously.
Katherine will write a list for me of the movies she wants me to see, and I will write a list of the movies I want her to see. And then when it's movie night, we alternate from one to the other, and we pick off the other person's list. So I would be choosing off Katherine's list for the movie we watch that night, and vice versa.
Yeah, you always get like a little bit of, it's like a win-win situation.
It kind of is.
Because you get to choose, like, on the day when it's like your list, it's like we're watching a movie off of your list, and like you've curated it so you know the movies on it are good. And then like I'm also assuming the list, like the movies on your list are good, but then like I get to pick it.
Yeah. So it's like, even though I've given you options, you still get choice.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fun way of doing it, and maybe we'll make those lists public. So if you want, you can see what could potentially be in store for next week.
And I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Check out our Letterboxd. Check out the movies we want each other to watch. Let me know if you have any suggestions in the comment section.
Where's this going to be uploaded? Does like Spotify even have comments and podcasts?
I don't know. I really went full YouTube. I went full YouTuber there.
I mean, YouTube you can. I just don't know if you're going to do a video podcast without
wherever
the video.
you're listening to. No, well, okay.
We're still figuring this out.
Here's my thought process. I really wanted to make the podcast accessible on where people listen to podcasts.
Yeah, let us know where it's like the best method for you guys.
Yeah.
Get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Instagram at Ryder Cycle and at
Katherine.32.
Sounds good. Hit us up there if you guys want to let us know about
where do you listen to podcasts? Because
how'd you find this?
How are you listening to this right now?
How are you listening to this right now, and do you like it? What's a better one if so?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Well, we'll see you next time we do this.
Yeah,
Probably
see you next week.
Next week, Sunday?
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday is when we record them?
I guess.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Adios. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Or maybe not watching. Let me do that again. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Take care. Bye.
Goodbye.